Okay, let's get right into it. Starting with the Chengdu Hunters. They have a 13-15 record with a 55, execute order 66, and 1 map record.
They cut Yang Xiaolong and Jikrin, and they signed Leave.
Yeah, that's about it. For a Chinese team, they were very active. I think the moves make some sense. I think signing Leave is a gigantic upgrade over Yang Xiaolong. So they played at that Shanghai Masters thing, and Chengdu 3-0'd the Guangzhou Charge, and they got 4-0'd by Shanghai because Shanghai's Shanghai. However, Chengdu looked good, and I think a big part of why Chengdu looked really good is because of Leave. Leave made a gigantic impression on people that might not have watched Leave perform, and the hype that was surrounding his signing when it very first happened was justified because he is a fucking monster. And I think it's really meaningful signing because a lot of the times this team has just been a Meng for sure, but also Jinmu just being insane and putting up like these dazzling plays and really being the best player in the game at certain points. However, Jinmu has basically been partnered with people kind of by committee. You know, it's like, oh, Jinmu Yang Xiaolong, Jinmu Bacon Jack. And there hasn't really been a true running mate for Jinmu. And the story of this offseason is a lot of these DPS that went crazy last season are finally getting running mates. Side player has Yaki now, Erster has Edison, and I think that this is another example of Jinmu getting some genuine help with Leave. And so I like the fact that you have Jinmu and Leave as your DPS core, and it's two people that are nuts on any hero. Then, if you need him, you have Bacon Jack. And it's not Bacon Jack gets play because Yang Xiaolong kind of sucks this week, and we want to try something different.
Right.
So I genuinely enjoy the fact that they signed Leave and made a significant upgrade.
Yeah, and I have to say something going over these weeks and weeks of talking about teams and their signings. It looks like this season they're taking more of a like let's make sure we have duo and duo and duo with all their kind of classes, or at least one in the tank category, at least a duo in like the DPS category. Not all supports have a like duo going into the season, but I do think it's nice that we have now solid duos going into the work, as you said.
Yeah, and they do have really good mainstays still. I think Elsa is a big example of that. Elsa played, I think, every single game. And if I'm not completely mistaken, every single map for this team. And same with Yveltal, where he is just a very good support. And I think you do have a good core. You have Kyo and Yveltal, who basically played every map last season. So you have continuity there. You have Elsa, who played every single map and was good. And then you have a Meng, obviously, who feels like a make or break thing. But what I really like about a Meng right now is it is worrying because a Meng isn't your be-all, end-all main tank. And I think having, when they signed Jikrin, the theory was if a Meng is subpar on certain heroes, he can come in and alleviate a Meng from having to play like a Meng does, but on a hero he's not as good at, which is detrimental to your team. But Wrecking Ball is meta right now, and a Meng is going to feast because he is still the best Wrecking Ball until he's taken off that throne.
Right.
And with Wrecking Ball being meta, I think this is perfect time for him to really show out.
Yeah, and the Chengdu Hunters have always been that team where we used to call them they only bully on bad teams, but I generally think going into this year, especially now having a solid duo, that they're not just going to bully on bad teams, they're going to bully on and surprise some of the better teams. I'm pretty sure there was a couple games where they shook the shock and even let the Titans run for their money.
Yeah.
They never defeated them, but they at least there was
pushed
moments where
hard.
you saw them both of those teams kind of be like, whoa, wait, what?
And they did beat the Shock, but obviously they didn't beat Super Saiyan Shock.
Yeah, they beat
different.
early stage Shock.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun seeing how far they go.
And another thing with Chengdu is, still looking at this roster, it is largely the same. And I still think they are slotted for that 13, 15 type win level. 13 at the very low end. Very, very low end. But I think 15, 16 at the top. I still don't see them being a 20-win team. I still don't see them being, like, solidly top 10. Where they're top 10, no one's going to knock them off their spot. I don't think that that's going to happen. I could see them dropping to, like, an 11th or something.
Yeah.
Because there is something to Chengdu just being very volatile.
Yeah.
And hopefully Leave brings a lot more stability to, like, this whole roster. But I think Chengdu is still super chaotic.
Yeah, I think they're the perfect average but chaotic team. Like, they're a perfectly average team. I can see them being in, like, the 15 to, like, 10 range, but never, like, pushing past that. And if they do push past that, congrats. Like, that's something, and especially if we see more stability and less full-on chaos coming from them, that's going to be really useful.
But Chengdu is in a good spot. Like, I don't want to get that wrong. But there is questions there. In terms of, like, where they are with the Chinese teams, though, I want to say they're second best because of the Shanghai Masters thing, but I don't completely think Shanghai Masters is, like, the be-all, end-all. It was a casual exhibition, and they did well, but I wonder how much Guangzhou and Hangzhou really cared about it. Or, even... Because we know Hangzhou, they take a while to get into things. Maybe they just didn't really feel things out, yeah. And then Guangzhou is another thing where I still think that they were kind of reeling from what do we do now that Hoppa's gone, because he was such a big part of that team, that they got destroyed by the two teams with stability and then upgraded. But their DPS duo is, I think, number 2 when you look at Godspeed, Adara, or, Happy, Nero.
Yeah.
Leave and Jinmu is significantly better, I think.
Yeah, definitely.